franktalks.com.
Relationships, sex, passion with Dr. Laurie Betito. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Welcome to Passion, a show all about love, sex, and relationships. Tonight, dating dilemmas with, of course, Frank Kermit, who's in studio. And he just reminded me, we're entering our 7th year together. So time frickin' flies is all I can say. Time flies.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And and this will be just entering our 18th year on Passion as well, coming up shortly. So it's time really does fly. Joining us in studio as well is Fritz-Gerald of Elite Speed Dating, which Dating Dilemmas is now sponsored by EliteSpeedDating.com. We're going to find out all about what that's, what the whole speed dating thing is about. But not just that, he's an expert unto himself in dating. And so we've got ourselves a little panel here to help everybody.
This is going to be fun.
Yes, I think so. And the first time I met Fritz was, I guess, a couple of years back. We met at the Salon de l'Amour, and he was one of the people I interviewed on the show because he was one of the ones that impressed me. Of all the, booths and everything that I was walking around with, checking out and seeing who could be potential guests, Fritz was one who, inspired me. So welcome back. It's been a while.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Elite Speed Dating, can you tell us how did you even get into the business? Now you're married, you have kids and everything, but how did you get into the business of dating?
Well, before I had a partner and being with the kids and everything, I was single.
At one time. So was Frank at one time. Unless
Pitifully single.
Okay, that's a way of putting
it. Enjoying life and seeing what's out there. I was actually coming right out of law school, which I studied in Ottawa, moving back to Montreal. I was articling for a great firm here.
Okay.
And there's a bunch of things that I didn't do in my life. I had a checklist that I wanted to go through. And
was dating one of them?
Speed dating was one of them.
Oh, okay.
So I had never done it before.
Right.
So as I came back into the city, I took a friend with me and we said, we're doing this.
Okay.
With all the skepticism that goes with it.
Of course.
We went to the event, and that night, after 3 dates, we thought that this was absolutely fantastic. So all my prejudices about speed dating, I had a
So
complete
hold on. So
180.
you had a good experience,
I had
is what you're telling me.
Fantastic experience.
Okay, so you were one of those that were tick, 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 picked by the girls. Okay, gotcha. It's not always great for everybody, but you do have to give it a try.
That's true. I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah,
At least to know.
Clearly, considering you created a company, no, let's
bias
not
there.
recommend it.
No bias there.
None at all. And actually, Frank wrote an entire book on speed dating. So you too are an expert in this field.
Actually, Fritz wrote the introduction
To that book.
my book, The Frank Guide to Speed Dating. And
So
I'm a big fan of speed dating. My first couple of experiences weren't great, but I ended up meeting one of my best girlfriends through speed dating.
well, you can make friends that way, right? Best girlfriends meaning like
Somebody I ended up dating in a relationship.
That was a good relationship.
One of the best girlfriends I ever had, one of the best relationships I ever had, and I met her through speed dating. So I'm a big, big fan.
I believe in it because it's expedient. you
Yes.
know, you meet a whole bunch of people. You get to ask if you know what the questions are, which I guess the process, you help people decide on the questions that are going to be discussed, right? So
we actually give icebreaker questionnaire, spark the conversation. You only have 5 minutes,
so it's 5 minutes with each person.
Exactly.
In this case, and that's enough. There's studies that show that you form a first impression like seconds. Minutes. Right?
Whether or not that first impression is an accurate impression.
Yeah, that's true.
If you know going into speed dating, and that's one of the things that I talk about in the book, The Frank Guide to Speed Dating, is that unlike regular dating where you have an unlimited amount of time to really present yourself, speed dating has a very specific structure. You get your 5 to 10 minutes to put your best foot forward and really, really put in a lot of effort into that communication so that you can make a match. It's wonderfully efficient for people who are really busy, for people who have careers, who maybe they just want to get back into the world of dating after a long absence. It's really a wonderful way to meet a lot of people, short amount of time, and even find out just how dateable you are.
And what you can hone, in terms of how to present yourself.
Well, you're definitely going to get some feedback. And if you don't get any matches, you've gotten some feedback that you have something you got to work on.
Yeah, that's true. Tonight, Dating Dilemmas is sponsored by EliteSpeedDating.com, and Fritz-Gerald of Elite Speed Dating is here sharing his wisdom with us. So you've been in this business a few years. It's so interesting that here's a lawyer who decides to do this, Now, when you started that process, did you do it because you thought, "Ooh, this is a good way for me to meet more women"? Or did you really do it because you said, hey, there's a real good business opportunity here?
It was
or all of the above.
It was all of the. I'll pick C. All of the above.
Okay.
It was a great opportunity to meet women. I was single back in Montreal, so it was fantastic, and it was also I believe, a very efficient way and a great way to make a living out of it. Because when I got into it, the first and foremost was you make people happy.
You like
right?
that.
I like that a lot. This is happiness all over. People are in a good mood. If they're not, you're getting them into a good mood. People are speaking, talking, having a couple of drinks. Yeah. Stay the night after.
By the way, just to say, that's what got me getting you on the air is your attitude. I remember it very clearly when I met you. It was your energy, the positivity, the wanting. Like, it was more than a business. It was about making people happy and making matches. So just some feedback.
Well, thank you very much.
I don't think I ever told you personally, but I remember that very clearly. If you have questions, and Frank did put this out on Facebook, so you got a lot of questions.
A lot, yeah.
But we do want to give CJD listeners as well the opportunity to ask those questions at 514-800 if you would like to text in. If you want to call in and speak to my peeps here, then do call in at 514-790-0800. So you did you just posted your latest blog post on EliteSpeedDating.com, the 5 elite fundamentals for the best dating experience. So maybe both of you, since you wrote the book, Frank, and you wrote the blog, Fritz, let's talk about what are those fundamentals. What are some of the things that we need to be concerned about?
Well, the 5 fundamentals, I think, and that's why they're called fundamentals, are essential to not only the dating experience, but also to how you guide yourself. So first, you need to know who you are. You need to know why you're dating. You need to know what type of relationship you're looking for. You also need to know when you can date, what is your available time, and where to go.
Those are things you don't necessarily think about ahead of time. You just kind of
Most people don't. Most people just go on how they feel. They don't necessarily put in enough planning. And Fritz's article on the 5 fundamentals, I think, gets a lot of people thinking about what they need to do before they enter that world of dating.
So there is a bit of homework to be done. I mean, knowing who you are, can be believe it or not, like you say, it sounds obvious, except for some people, they really don't know why they do the things they do and what drives them. And, who am I? What are my values? What do I need? What are my needs? What are my values? What are my goals? What are my expectations? There's so much to figure out.
I think one of the biggest mistakes that people make is that they focus first on what they're attracted to, and that they assume that what they're attracted to or who they're attracted to is a representation of their core values.
Right.
And that's not always the case, because you can be interested in someone that doesn't reflect your core values.
Right. Just because you're attracted to them doesn't mean that's the person for you.
Yeah.
More dating dilemmas brought to you by EliteSpeedDating.com here on Passion on CJD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
That's for you, Frank.
7
looking
years.
Straight at you. 7 years on the air, which is wonderful. Dating Dilemmas brought to you by EliteSpeedDating.com. Fritz-Gerald of Elite Speed Dating is with us, and we're talking about the fundamentals for a best dating experience, never mind just a speed dating, any dating experience. And the first one we talked about is really know who you are. And another obvious one, even though it's obvious but not so obvious, is know why you are dating. So what's the why? What would be the why?
Well, the why is, what is your fundamentals in the sense of, what are you looking after? Do you want to make babies? Are you looking for a life partner? Just a fling? Are you just looking for a friend? What is it that you're after? Once you know that, then you can guide yourself to figuring out, well, who's the right person that I'm going to match myself with to share this wonderful experience that we're about to live.
And be honest about what you're looking for. You know, I was just talking with somebody about a couple where one was into BDSM, into kink, started dating, but was dating somebody completely vanilla. And of course, they ended up with marital issues because she, although was, willing to try certain things, it wasn't in her. And it was like, no, I can't do this. But he had made it very clear from the outset, if we're going to be together, I need this, right? And if I don't get it from you, you have to accept that I can get it elsewhere. So just that, which is, okay, maybe not your usual experience, but this is part of knowing what it is that you want out of dating or what it is that you are looking for. So sometimes you got to get really specific.
Oh, I guess you do. And it is okay to be selfish. This is one thing that
you got to take care of yourself.
Exactly.
To me, that's not being selfish. That is really about, these are my needs. And this is, I'm not going to just bend over, do bend over backwards for people and do what they want and accommodate others just to get a date. But I need to know what it is like. This is the area where you need to take care of yourself.
And in a lot of cases, when someone is honest about what their needs are and what their parameters are right from the beginning, you tend to find more people saying, well, I don't really know, but I'm willing to talk. I'm willing to try. Let's see where this goes. There are those individuals who will say, nope, not for me, and they're gone, but you don't want to date them anyway.
Right.
And sometimes just because somebody has been that honest right from the beginning, you find a lot of people are willing to say, I'll give it a shot. And that's a really good place to start.
Especially since some people haven't thought about some of these things. So it's like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Let's see. Maybe, a maybe is okay. The other thing that people don't consider that you wrote about, Fritz, is know when you are able to date, which, if you work 80 hours a week, let's say, when are you supposed to date?
Before we...
I don't know.
And I agree with you. Like, if you work 80 hours a week, when do you find that time? The first thing is, like every other event in your life, you have to put a priority on it.
Yes.
So if you do work 80 hours a week and that's a priority for you, then that's fine.
Yeah, but don't expect to date anytime soon.
Exactly.
If you're dating someone who's working 80 hours a week, I can tell you for sure, the person who's trying to date you is going to eventually get really frustrated and not feel like a priority.
Well, unless they go into it knowing that, okay, I'm going to date somebody who's working 60 to 80 hours a week. I'm only going to get to see the person once every 2 weeks. But maybe they themselves also have a very, very hectic schedule, and that's all they can afford.
Right. So maybe it works for them.
Yeah.
Listen, some people get into long-distance relationships on purpose.
Exactly.
It works for both, right?
They know when they're ready to date. They look for exactly that partner who will accept their livelihood, because probably it is a reciprocity with them.
Right.
Or there's the other type that, they enjoy the other person being out 80 hours a week.
Right.
And they have time to themselves. So as long as it works for you and within your couple.
So that's what you need to know, but you need to be also very clear about it. So when you're dating, if you don't tell somebody this is your usual kind of thing, it might come as a bit of a surprise when they can't pin you down for a date. And you say, well, I have time in about 2 weeks. I can fit you in my schedule. And then that doesn't go over very well for most people.
It doesn't go over well if they had the expectation that they were going to date more often than that. But if they go in with the expectation of the reality, if they say, what's your schedule? It's my schedule. This is the most we can have. They're in a position to make a choice. And if they choose to go for it, at least they know what to expect.
That's right.
And some people are okay with that, and some people try it and find, I'm not getting enough.
Right. This isn't working for me, not meeting my needs, etc. More dating dilemmas coming up, brought to you by EliteSpeedDating.com here on Passion on CJD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas tonight brought to you by EliteSpeedDating.com. Fritz-Gerald and Frank Kermit in studio with me, my panel for dating dilemmas now. So Gray writes, I don't work 80 hours a week, but I work very hard, very bad hours, evening shift, which makes it very difficult to meet anybody. Although I've met other people who do the evening shift, like the overnight. I guess the evening is different than overnight, but like an overnight shift, they're available kind of more during the day and they can have supper and then they leave. So you can't have like a late date. But evening shift is like, it's like smack dab, there's no nights off.
So you're having breakfast dates.
I guess you have no choice but to have breakfast dates.
You're meeting for breakfast. You're meeting for
but
brunch.
what if your partner is also, is working at 8:00 in the morning? Like, again, it gets difficult when you have, when you're working evenings, you gotta sleep, and your partner, themselves has to get up early. It's like, I can see where it's like, when are we going to see each other? Well,
first of all, when you meet somebody, you're not supposed to be dating them 2 or 3 times in the same week. You date them once a week. And if you're working Monday to Friday at an evening shift or a night shift, you still have your weekends.
But why is that? Why do you have to meet them once? What if you really like them and want to see them again that week?
Because you want to meet them only once a week to make sure that you don't get attached just because you're always around them. You don't want to end up getting too attached by spending too much time, and keep your options open.
But what if that person is the one that you think, oh, I think this one can work. I really like this person.
If you're ready to see that, look, if you're ready to say that based on a one-day conversation or whatnot, that's the person I want to be with forever, that's your prerogative.
No, but you want to find out. You want to give it a chance to find out. I think Fritz has something to say about that.
I agree with you.
I'm not with that.
I don't think the one date, you want to see the person again, then you should see them again. I don't think there's a rule on how many times you can see them. I do think that within at least the beginning, you don't want to be too clingy.
That's true. You don't want to appear too clingy. That's true.
Too clingy. So maybe if we would put a number, just because we have to put a number.
But we don't.
We don't. Right? Maybe on a 7-day, once every 2 days. Maybe that's more than enough.
I would be okay with that. Texter writes, evening is 1 to 9 or 3 to 11. And they say go out with a similar shift person, which is a really good idea.
Yeah, that would be one start. But you can also go out with somebody who has a bit different shift, as long as you're both willing to make the compromises necessary. Just be willing to miss out on a little bit of sleep if you want to accommodate someone's schedule.
Yeah, sometimes it can be difficult. But anyhow, that's a challenge that some people face, inevitably. News is coming up next, and then more dating dilemmas with Frank Kermit and Fritz-Gerald of EliteSpeedDating.com in studio with me here on CJD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Dating dilemmas brought to you by EliteSpeedDating.com. Frank Kermit is in studio, as he always is. And now we're joined by Fritz-Gerald of Elite Speed Dating as well. So 2 experts on the panel, 2 for the price of 1. Maria joins us on the line. Hi, Maria.
Hi.
Hi.
I need all your help, guys.
Okay. Let's get you helped. What are we doing?
Thank you for taking my call.
Pleasure.
Well, I've been on dating sites for about 7-8 months. Okay. And I've met quite a few people, but it was maybe always the first and second date. It never led to a third date, basically.
Okay.
And
because you didn't want, or because they didn't get in touch with you?
I didn't want.
You didn't want. Okay.
I didn't want, and I find I'm 52, and I'm in good shape, and basically the people I've met, they would have liked to meet me again, but I know what I want, I know what I don't want, and it's very difficult to meet exactly the man that I would like to meet. So compromising becomes more difficult with age, I think. What would be your advice? What should I do? I may be too picky. I don't know.
Is Maria being too picky?
Well, first of all, what is the thing that you don't want to compromise on? If you can give us an idea, we'll be able to better advise you.
Okay, I don't want to compromise. I don't want to meet a man with younger children. I want to meet a guy with grown-up kids.
Okay.
That's
fair because you're in
one.
But I mean that's fair because you're in a stage of life.
Exactly.
Right.
And I had not such a great experience in a previous relationship. And my son is 27, so I'd like to meet somebody with kids about
older.
The same age.
That may not happen. They may be a little older. They may be, older, maybe not as old as 27. You had kids young.
I was 26.
Yeah, well, a lot of people
it's
like
young. Nowadays, it's young.
It is, yeah.
I'm very confused here, Maria, and the reason is it because you're worried that your future partner might be too preoccupied with younger kids not being able to pay attention to you?
That is one of the things, yes. And the other one is that I was a single mother. I've raised my son by myself. It was quite difficult. So I'm not ready to take on any more responsibility about anyone's children.
You're done with that. I think what you're saying is you're
done
raising kids.
I'm done.
I can respect that. I can totally respect that. I have friends who are the same age who are dating who say, I don't want young kids. Like I want the freedom. I don't want to have to take care of kids.
With that said, just dating a man who has older kids doesn't necessarily mean that everything is okay and his older kids don't need attention.
Not. I was just one of the things.
No, but I understand where she's coming from on that one. It's very different having an 18 or 20-year-old or independent kids and having a 7-year-old around.
Are you looking for a man with family values?
I'm looking for a caring man with family values, with financially stable. And I don't care about looks. I'm not picky in that department. And yet, I can't find anybody that I
But Maria, hold on. Those guys that you met and went on like second dates and what have you, what were they lacking? Did they not have family values? Did they not... what was missing for them?
Well, there was always something lacking, and I guess most of the time there was chemistry lacking too.
Okay, so then it is more than it's more than what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's more than what you're saying because you're saying, looks don't matter, but chemistry matters, and that's part of it.
It does matter, but I was willing to meet them second time at least, just because I thought, well, let me get to know the person, and maybe I will like them if I get to know them better.
Maria,
I like them better.
Maria, if you're going to give somebody that you don't initially have chemistry with a chance, you got to give them more than 2 dates.
Yeah, it's true. And isn't that expression that women learn to, what's that expression? Men, oh my God, my brain is freaking not working tonight. That women can learn to fall in love with people, that they learn to be attracted to people they like or something like that. You can learn to love somebody
Okay, so Maria, here's the basic advice. You're cutting them off too soon. It's not your criteria that's the problem. You're cutting them off too soon before you've had a chance to really explore that connection.
But at the same time,
the reason I think I'm doing is because I don't want to lead them on either.
So you don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
Well, but you can be very clear about that. I don't think it's
you're hurting
them on.
yourself. You're cutting the opportunity so early. You're not giving it a chance. You are hurting them, and you're hurting yourself. Just be honest with them. Just let them know, even on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th date. I really don't know where this is going, but I want to give it a fair chance.
And that's fair. And people get hurt, like you can get people who are going to be more into you than you into them. Sure, somebody might get hurt, but that's the name of the game here.
You're all adults. You can all handle a bit of rejection after a few dates.
Well, I'm going to give it a shot then.
Please.
And I will attend your speed dating.
Yeah,
also.
I think that's worth a try. That's definitely worth a try. Thanks so much, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you, guys.
take care. Bye-bye. Off air, I was talking to Fritz, and his speed date, he does specialty speed dating, and I was blown away as to your next event, which is, could you tell us about it?
Yes, we're doing a speed dating in association with the Multiple Sclerosis Foundation, and we're doing it with people who have disabilities. So this is going to be on June 15th. And if you have disability and you would like to meet someone, which we know it's not as easy,
right,
to meet someone that also has a disability, and it doesn't have to be MS, it could be any type of disability, then you can sign up. And it's going to be in an art gallery, so it's going to be a nice venue. Mm-hmm. We've prepared it for them to have all dates, the dates are going to be provided. And Elite Speed Dating, everything that we make is going towards the foundation as well.
That's amazing.
So the idea is to promote dating, and whoever it may be, and everybody needs love.
Everybody can get love.
Exactly.
Everybody deserves to be loved, and everybody deserves to have somebody to love. Absolutely.
Here.
Yeah. We have a couple of texts. This is for you, Maria. Maria, it took 15 to 30 dates to know I had a future with someone. So there's somebody's example who says they really needed to spend more time. Gray writes back, my shift is 2 to midnight, and number of dates isn't the problem because it's trying to meet people in the first place. That is, it leaves little time for a social life. And he writes, that's why I'm regularly able to bug you on your show, Doc. While he's at work, does your boss know that? And someone else writes, I am attractive, intelligent, educated, like to travel, looking for someone to build a future. Well, sounds like...
Don't focus on what you have. Focus on what you have to offer.
Okay.
Because you just described yourself. I'm this, I'm that. Tell me what it is you offer as a potential relationship candidate.
Ooh,
because that's going to help you really connect with the people. Lets them know what they're looking for.
That's very good. That's true. What do we... A little full of yourself,
always.
Okay. Frank Kermit, that's the voice of Frank Kermit, who is a dating coach. He's the author of over 10 books on the subject, tons of audio lectures. He's the relationship columnist for thesuburban.com. Fritz-Gerald, who is the founder of EliteSpeedDating.com, is here as well. So if you have questions, these guys have the answer. Tons of people wrote you on Facebook. We're going to have to get to some because I don't want to get, people upset with us. So, Frank, promise me you'll answer them individually if we don't get to them a little bit, just so that we don't leave people hanging, because I hate to do that.
You got it.
Okay, good. Thanks. You are listening to Dating Dilemmas here on Passion on CJD 800.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Dating Dilemmas, and on the program, Frank Kermit and Fritz-Gerald of EliteSpeedDating.com is here. And just a reminder, holding an event June 15th with the MS Foundation, and it is a speed dating event for people with disabilities, any kind of disabilities, really, and it's a fundraiser. So that's what a great initiative. And I know on this very program, Frank, we have had people texting us, calling us, telling us, hey, I have, fibromyalgia, or I have something that prevents me, that sometimes makes it really difficult for me to date regularly or go out or do things and what have you. So this kind of opportunity, I think, is fabulous.
It's a phenomenal opportunity, and we have had people call in because there's always something going on in their life that causes them to get rejected. And the challenge is, how do you deal with the potential rejection when you know that a lot of people may not want to deal with your particular situation?
Right. And sometimes they're invisible.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you may have MS, it may not show. You may have fibromyalgia, it may not show, like all these things. But once you start and you're interested in someone, you say, hey, by the way,
Well,
I suffer with this.
Here's a mistake a lot of people make. They go out and date, and they want to get the person attached to them. They want to get the person to like them first, and then they say, oh, by the way, and they spring it on them. And that does not do well to build trust.
Right.
So if it's something that you're not afraid of it being public information, you're better off telling people right away and saying, look, here's what you need to know about me. I'm still a great person to date, and you have to verbalize that. I'm still a great person to date. I just have to deal with this one thing. And after that, if they still want to date you, you know you've gotten it out of the way. And if they run, they would have run even if they did get to know you and get attached.
Right. A couple of texts. A dilemma, this is the person who wrote back in when you asked, what do you have to offer? Dilemma is like to meet people. What I have to offer is honesty, loyalty, monogamy, and intelligence, adventurous about life and culture, but not sex. Is there any hope to meet a man with similar interests who isn't into daily or weekly sex? I'm okay with it, but not too often. Twice a month is enough, but it's never enough for the guys I've found.
Oh, I think you'll be able to find men who may not feel the same pressure to have sex, as long as you're honest about it.
Right.
If you're going to try online dating, this is the type of information you may want to share. Give them every reason that you can say, look, I'm a great partner in all of these respects, but here's the one thing you got to know about me. When it comes to sex, twice a month is already a lot for me. And if you're struggling sexually, if you're dealing with impotence, if you're dealing with anything of that nature, I'm okay with that. And I'm willing to accept you for that if you're willing to accept me for this. And you will find someone.
Right.
Because you're being human.
And you're being human, you're being honest. And there you go. And this is something that there is, as long as you put it out there, eventually you'll find someone who matches that.
Yeah.
Another text says, like the eHarmony guy says, do you want fast or do you want forever? That's from John. That's pretty good. That's okay. And Kiki writes, my daughter is in a polyamorous relationship knowingly and seems happy when he is home. I'm assuming her husband. But when he leaves to go to his other partner, she completely loses it. What advice can you give me to help her? Well, clearly she's not happy about it. Well, this doesn't work.
Well, okay, the first question is, why did she agree to be in that kind of relationship when obviously she's acting out? The advice I would give her mother is stay out of it. Yeah. And and just tell your daughter, look, I don't want to hear it. You agreed to be in that relationship, then you have to show some maturity. Because agreeing to something and then
consenting to something
and then raging against it, going through all this drama, well, that's not a mature behavior. So if it's not for you, don't get into it. But if it is for you, then you have to be mature about it.
And take responsibility for
I agree with the being mature and taking responsibility, but clearly if that person is she's seeing her child in distress and she wants to help her.
Of course, right.
Right? So having someone to talk to about it is good, and she should probably at least tell her daughter, well, talk to him. Have a conversation. Maybe this is not for you.
Right.
And express that. So at least you can find a way to maybe find a middle ground, if there is one, or at least work it through, because this relationship is important to you.
Well, I can also say you can give her my name and number, because I help couples through this kind of stuff, and maybe they need to figure this out. I do see couples who are polyamorous, and I understand how that all works, so that may be something that they may want to do that, because this doesn't work. Losing it isn't going to, in the long run, this is just going to destroy the relationship.
One of the concerns I have is that the daughter is ranting to the mom and whoever else. She, like Fritz said, she needs to be talking to her partner and not involving family members into what should be a private dispute that the two of them should be able to work out.
Right. Although she's probably looking, like Fritz said, to her mom for support, and who else understands her, and mom knows about it. And it's not the kind of thing you just share with best friends. Sometimes it may be difficult because people are judgmental about polyamory.
Parents can be judgmental as well. And when you have problems with your spouse, going to your parents or going to your family may not be the best course of action, because once you and your spouse finish and regulate it, your family and friends tend to remember and may bring it up and throw it in your face. And
maybe
there's certain things you don't go to family and friends for. Okay, you need an opinion, you go to a professional.
and fix it. Like get, and send her to say, maybe this is the best route for you is to seek a professional rather than the mother taking it all on as well. Last couple of minutes left with Fritz of EliteSpeedDating.com and Frank of FrankTalks.com here on Passion and Dating Dilemmas on CJAD.
You're listening to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, the podcast. Hear the show live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD 800.
Last couple of minutes left here on Dating Dilemmas, brought to you by EliteSpeedDating.com. We have Fritz-Gerald in studio with us of Elite Speed Dating, as well as Frank Kermit answering your questions, the two experts in dating. So Dan from Australia contacted on Facebook and said, how can you be upfront with women in your life, expressing that you like them without suffering the need for rejection? For instance, if I have a series of shared experiences with a woman who seems interested in me, how do I go about determining if she sees me as more than a friend and a potential lover? So how do you know when somebody's in the friend zone? Like, it's about reading the signs, right? Reading the signs. And is this more of a guy thing, a girl thing? I don't even know.
Well, if they've been friends for a while, he should probably know where he's lying, right? Within the friend zone or not. So the question is how does he get out of the friend zone? Right? In my opinion, I'm very much a seize the day kind of person. Right. So I would try to figure out some cues, probably take her aside and try it out, because you never know, right? But before you do that, you have to also keep in mind of the repercussions that might happen. The
risks, right? And there is a risk of rejection.
Exactly. And this is not just a small risk. It's not someone you're just meeting. This is a friend that you're probably going to see again. And if it does work out, then great. And if it doesn't work out, then there's also other repercussions or risks involved. So you need to very much assess what you're going to do. But if you think that this is a good thing, hey, try it out, my friend.
I think Frank would say the same thing. Go for it.
Generally speaking, if she already liked you, you'd be dating her already. So you're friend zoned right there. Number two.
So you don't think there's a way to get out of that friend zone?
Oh, there's a way to get out of it. There's a formula. And the formula is you have to put distance between the two of you. You have to make a concrete effort to change and learn to address emotional needs. And then when she is reintroduced into your life, you really hit on those emotional needs and you get her to say something like, wow, you're really different. As soon as she sees you as someone who's different, now you have a chance to start dating.
Because you'd be out of that friend zone. I just saw a great movie called Sex with Other Partners, I think it was called, something like that. It was, again, my brain doesn't function so well. But it was great. It was exactly that. It was somebody who was a friend, but in the end, they ended up really realizing that they were best friends, but really they were in love. Like there was love for each other, and nobody else held a candle to the kind of relationship they had, even though they both had commitment issues.
But a lot of people are resistant to dating a friend, and that's part of the problem.
Right.
When your friend is probably the first person you should be looking to date, and if he did ask her out and she said no, don't hang out with that person as much.
Right.
Put some distance.
That's right. I've known a few people who have been very good friends and then ended up being married to that person, where it turned romantic. You too? Yeah. So it works. It can work. It can work, but you have to risk. With risk, if you don't risk, you don't get. Thanks again. Now, you guys, thank you. That was really, really fun, this panel of dating. So thank you. If you need to reach Fritz, you want to find out about speed dating, you want to read his blog, you can go to EliteSpeedDating.com. If you want to sign up for the speed dating event happening June 15th for people with disabilities, so specialty speed dating. Somebody wants you to do like a midnight lovers kind, do it about night owls. Do one for night owls. What a great idea during that time. Hey, I love it. That's a great idea. Fritz, I hope you'll be joining us again at the next Dating Dilemmas. It's really great having this panel of experts here. And Frank, thank you once again. You want to reach Frank, franktalks.com, or you can read him in thesuburban.com as well. Thank you to Dave Simon in Master Control. News is coming up next, followed by The Comedy Show with your host, Joey Elias. Have a wonderful rest of the evening, and please remember, life is short, so do take the time to to smell the flowers and indulge your passions.
Listen to Passion with Dr. Laurie Betito, live weeknights 10 to 11 on CJAD and CJAD.com.
Need help with love, sex, dating, and relationships? Visit franktalks.com. 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 Frank